So hi guys, welcome back to my channel Bit Explosive. In our last video, we have studied about what peer-to-peer networking is, which is a basic pillar of Bitcoin or blockchain. In the last video, we were discussing about the pillars of blockchain, in which we have discussed about the 4 pillars, which were pillars, which were number 1 was the peer-to-peer networking, another was the cryptography which is used, another thing was the data structure which was used, and last thing was the proof of work algorithm which is used in Bitcoin. This will be the continuation of the previous lecture. In the last lecture, we completed about peer-to-peer networking. Satoshi wanted peer-to-peer networking in Bitcoin because he doesn't want to have a single point of failure. Because he doesn't want to have any centralized authority which will be monitoring the whole system. He wants the whole Bitcoin network to be completely decentralized. There should be no central authority. That's why he wanted a peer-to-peer network. Now, the topic for this video will be cryptography. And basically, cryptography is a very vast topics. We will be covering in this lecture basics of hash functions. So maybe some of you have already heard about what hash functions are, but to give you a brief, they are something like a functions. What we do is that in function we give some input and we get some output. So this is basically a hash function. Now to start it, what you can understand about hash function is that we provide something to a hash function as input, let's say a string, and it will give us an output, which will be a completely random string. But the property of hash function is that if you provide the same input again, it will provide us the same output. So basically hash functions are used for as a unique ID. Now what is the application of hash functions in blockchain? Basically in blockchain, what we have, the data structure is something like that. We have blocks. As I told you, we have blocks in blockchain. All the blocks are linked to each other, and how they are linked, basically each and every block is having the hash value of the previous block. Let's say there is a block B1, there is a block B2, there is a block B3. Now block B2 will have the hash value of block B1. Similarly, block B3 will have the hash value of block B2. In this way, all these blocks are connected to each other, and that's why hash functions help us to connect the blockchain. Now the property of hash functions are that, let's say, if we modify anything in the block B1, then the hash will also modify. In that case, the modified hash, and the hash which is present in block B2 will now not match, because for each input there is a specific output. Basically, if we fed it to a hash function, if we are providing the details of block P1 to the hash function, so it will give a particular output which is completely random. Now we need to provide the same input to hash function to get the same output. Okay. Now if we modify anything in the hash of B1, then the hash which is present in B2 will not match. In that case, the blockchain will break. Okay. That's why hash function helps us to keep the blockchain inactive. Any modification in the blockchain, we will be able to know just because the hash value is modified, and blockchain will break from that point. In that way, hash function helps us to keep the blockchain inactive. And if any hacker tries to attack the blockchain, tries to modify any block, then the hash in the next block will not match with the hash of the previous block, and we will know that some hacker is trying to hack the blockchain. Okay, in this way, hash function helps to keep the blockchain inactive. Now let's go into some details about what hash functions are and what are the properties of hash functions. So as I previously told you, basically hash function, let's say fetch hash function. So we provide input and we get output. Now this is the hash function. The hash function which we are currently discussing about is a generalized hash function. But in later section we will discuss about the cryptographic hash function that we are using in Bitcoin. Properties of generic hash functions. So the number 1 property is that the input can be of any size. So let's say input let's say x1. This x1 input can be of any size: 10 bits, 100 bits, 1000 bits. So this is the number 1 property. Input can be of any size. The another property is that output should be of the fixed size. The output which is there, let's say we provided a function x1 input, it provides the output as y1. Now y1 should be of fixed size, let's say n bits. So basically, if we combine these 2 properties, we can provide any size input, but the output which we will get should be of fixed size. That is basically the n bits that we are defining. A particular hash function has particular number of bits, and if I want to give you example, SHA-256. It is basically the cryptographic hash function which is used in Bitcoin. So for this, the output n and number of bits is 256. So if you provide sharp-256 any input, it produces an output of a fixed length, which is 256 bits. So now we will not go into sharp-256 currently. We are just discussing about the basic properties of hash function, in which we have discussed about two properties. Number one was the any size input, another thing is the fixed size output, and the third property is that getting the output from the input should be very efficient, time efficient. Basically, we should get it immediately. There should not be much computation needed. Let's say if the input is of size m, okay, then we should get output in order of m time. These are the basic generic properties of a hash function. Now, we have discussed about the generic hash function properties. Now we will move to cryptographic hash function. But before that, let's discuss something about random oracle. The term random oracle, you will be hearing it multiple times in future as well. So what random oracle basically is that it is theoretical idealized cryptographic hash function. What random oracle is used for is that basically the researchers used this random oracle to the model check if the hash function which is used is up to the standards or not. Basically it is a ideal model of a hash function. In real life there is no hash function present which is having the properties of a random oracle. We will discuss about random oracle properties in details, but before that, just to give you what random oracle is. Basically, it is a theoretical idealized cryptographic hash function. It is not present in the real life. No real life hash function is a random oracle, and we will discuss why it is not possible to have a hash function which is random oracle. But let's discuss about what random oracle basically means. So we can consider it as of a table. Random oracle is a table of inputs and outputs. Inputs and outputs. Basically what we do is that let's say we provide an input to the random oracle x1. What random oracle, the properties of a random oracle is that random oracle will take input x1 and he will check on the list of inputs that if x1 is matching the input which is there already present in the table. Currently as you can see our table is empty, that means that the input is not present. What random oracle will do is that it will provide a random output to this let's say y1, x1 y1. So how this random number is generated? Let's say we have n bits output space. So there can be total possibilities will be 2 to the power n. How this will be going a little off topic, but we need to understand this because otherwise we will get confused. But how we are taking an output of n bits, and total size output of space is 2 to the power n. The reason is that let's say our n is 2 bits. Thing is that 2 bits basically means that we have 2 output space. So now each output space basically in bits we have zeros and 1. So each output space can either have 0 or 1. 0 or 1. In that case the total possibilities can be 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 2 3 4. Total 4 possibilities. Basically that means is 2 to the power 2 and n is our 2. So basically the output space will be of 2 to the power n. Basically 2 to the power 2 in our case because we have taken n as 2. This is basically the output space that we are talking about. So let's get back to our topic. We were discussing about random oracle. We have given an input x1. In the random oracle has checked that it is not present in the table, the random oracle table. So it has provided a random value y1. How random value is taken? Let's say we are flipping a coin or rolling a dice and we are providing a random number. That is basically y1. Now this x1 is added to the random oracle table. Now let's say another user came and he provided x2. Now random oracle will again check if x2 is present in the table. It is not present, so it will add x2 in the table. It will provide a random output to it. Let's say y2. Similarly, more inputs and more outputs will come: x2, x3, x4, y4, and so on. Now let's say after some time someone came and he provided the input as x1. Now this time what will happen is that random oracle will check x1 is already there, then he will provide directly the output y1 which is already present in the table. He will not compute a new output. Basically this is how the random oracle hash function basically works. So if you discuss what we have discussed previously, what random oracle does is that if a new input is provided to the random oracle, it will generate a random number and it will add it to the table along with input and output simultaneously. But if the same input is provided again and again, then it will give us the same output which is already present in the table. These are the properties of random oracle. So if we discuss about the properties of random oracle, if the same input is provided multiple times, let's say x1 is we are providing x1 multiple times, we will get the same output y1. But also, let's say our if we change a single bit in the input, let's say we were having x1 and when we modified it to something like we added one more bit or we have removed one bit from input, then the output that we will get will be completely random because it is not matching the table, and it will consider it as a new input and the output will be completely random. It is not like that the output will also have one bit less or one bit more. No. The output will be completely random. This is the properties of a random oracle. Now the thing is that in real life there is no hash function which generates a random output. So the hash functions which we use are pretty deterministic. The output can be determined, but the thing is that using cryptography it is very difficult to find the outputs and all. That is a part of another lecture. But the thing is that in real life there is no hash function which has the properties of a random oracle. So what we have covered in today's lecture is that came to know what hash functions are, why we are using hash function in blockchain, generic properties of hash function. And next thing we have discussed about was the random oracle, which is a very important thing. Oracle. Basically, random oracle is a theoretical, idealized cryptographic hash functions. No real life hash functions are basically having the properties of random oracle. This is all that we have studied was related to the basic hash functions. Random oracle was a generic hash function. Now, what we want to learn or what we want to understand related to Bitcoin is the cryptographic hash functions. So, cryptographic hash functions are something which will be having the generic properties of the hash functions, like input can be of any size, output should be of fixed size, and getting the input from output should be pretty efficient. These properties are carried by the cryptographic hash function as well, but there are some additional properties that we want from the cryptographic hash functions, like something like a collision resistance, hiding properties. These properties are what cryptographic hash functions are, that we will study in our next video. So until then, thank you and have a nice day, and we will meet in our next video. Please subscribe to my channel Bit Explosive. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.